just kicked off live and I am wanting to see if anybody is tuning in. We have one, maybe that's me. I wonder if that's Liz. Good old Liz who's often in first. We have a couple more. It's a bit strange for me today doing this one on my own. Hi. Hello, girls. I will get started. I can see that there's a few of you tuning in, and if you could just leave a little comment to let me know who you are and that you're listening okay to me. I just want to know that my sound is okay and that you can see pretty well as well. I'm Anita McLaughlin. I am thrilled to have you here today. This is number 4 in our 35-part series, Lunchtime Lives Community Connection series, designed to give you a healthy distraction during lockdown. And by having them every week as we've planned, there's 3 a week, every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 12 o'clock right here on the Facebook page for Sequins and Sand. I'm hoping that it's a place that you can come back to ground yourself in all of the circling and the unknown at the moment. So welcome for those I know. Hello, and for those who are new, it is lovely to meet you. I have spoken to 3 other women so far, with many more to come, but I am doing this flying solo today. We are talking style, that's the topic, and I figured let's kick off with what I know best, and that's swimsuits. So today we are going to be talking about how to find the swimsuit that fits. Hey, Ravi, nice to see you, darling. Tuning in from South Australia. That's great. Thanks, honey. I know. Can you hear me all right? She's giving me the thumbs up, I think. I'm not. Oh, I've got claps. That's great. So hopefully that means everything's working. I have a bit of background about me. I have been selling swimwear and resort wear online for 10 years, over 10 years now. And online only in that time, with the exception of 2 years where I had a little studio here in Brisbane, but I had to close that down. Circumstances changed there with the building, and I decided it wasn't for me, and now look what's happened. You know, I would have been closed down again in the street, but you know what? I'm a granny online, and online is where I love to hang out, and I hope you're learning and loving hanging out online a little bit more now too during this crazy corona time. So in that 10 years, I have had thousands of conversations with beautiful women about what is the seemingly simple act of getting into a pair of swimmers, you know, swimmers, togs, cozies, bathers, whatever you like to call them, depending on where you live in Australia. And I know that for some, that's pretty easy. You know, you just go to a shop, you know what you're looking for, and boom, you can find it and feel good in it when you put it on. Then there are some who it's been a while, you know, used to back in the day in their 20s, but since becoming a mum or watching their bodies change and their lives change, they've lost a bit of their mojo and need a bit of a hand to find the right fitting swimsuit. And that's probably the vast majority of the women we serve here at Sequins and Sand. And for that, we have ways to help, as you know, and if you don't, I'll let you know a little bit more later on. And then there's beautiful women who the very thought of getting into a swimsuit literally break out into a cold sweat. It really is quite heartbreaking to hear some of the stories. So for me, I know, and we now have a retreat for that, which again is something else, but I know that it's not always easy to get into a swimsuit for a whole raft of reasons. But what I also know is that when you do, it unlocks a whole lot of possible, and you begin to live summer and your life on your terms again. And that to me is the ultimate. And not holding back, just being who you are, having fun with those you love and who love you. So for me, it's more about what the swimwear will let you do with your life and how it makes you feel, rather than the transaction of just selling a swimsuit. That's the medium. Anyway, that's enough about the background. But it's also the passion, and it's the reason why I do what I do and why Sequins and Sand is here. And when I was thinking about how to talk to you about this today, so much of my learnings has come from having conversations with women like you over the years. Some over and over, and some just once and very recently. But for some of you, we've known each other for quite some time now. And I just wanted to give you a bit of an example of the typical conversations that I've had either online or in the little studio in Brisbane. It goes something like this. I'm here to buy togs. I really don't know what I'm doing. I don't like it. It's been a long time, but I know I have to. We're going away with the family and there are pools and beaches involved. So that will mean getting into a swimsuit. I really don't like how I look in bathers. Others will be there looking fantastic, and then there will be me. I haven't bought good bathers in years because I just don't swim that often and they don't fit well. I don't like my belly. I've put on weight over the years and I really don't want to show off my belly, okay? Okay. That's kind of the conversation. So we talk about feeling uncomfortable. There's talk about a body part that you might not be feeling fantastic about, but there's a reason. There's something that has pushed you over the edge and you've got to go, right, I've got to face this now. Now's the time I've got to get into my cosy. And that goes for a lot of things in life. And I guess at the moment in Corona crackdown and lockdown, we're evaluating all sorts of things in our lives, what matters most. So I hope that out of today's session, you will find hope in getting into a swimsuit that's going to make you feel good, so that when you get released from all of this, you can step out by the pool on the sand with those that you love and celebrate your life the way you want to. So let's go. My number one tip, and there's roughly 3 that I wanted to focus on today. The number one tip actually has nothing to do with what's behind me. The number one tip has everything to do with what's going on up here. It's in your mind. And like so many things, having the right mindset, or at least an open mind, is what I think is the number one thing to have. Having an open mind means that you're going to welcome in any possible. And when it comes to swimsuits, I've learnt, particularly doing the fittings in store for a little while, that often women will walk out the door wearing something that they never thought they'd get into, but because they came with an open mind, they found the right solution for them. So please, when it comes to buying swimwear, whether it's in a store somewhere later on when you get out of lockdown or online with me, have an open mind to what's being put before you. Number one tip. Number 2 tip is know thine measurements. Yes. Seen one of these, girls? Tape measure. And if you don't have one of these, just a piece of string will do that you can then measure off against a ruler. Because when you buy swimwear, it's a bit different to buying clothing. Swimwear's stretchy. So it's really difficult for us to say, oh, you know what? Here's the measurements for these pair of togs, because there's so much give and stretch in them. So it's important that you know your measurements. And the important measurements to know are bust, which includes the size, but also the cup size, really important. Then waist and hips. Knowing those 3 will give you a really good grounding in being able to find the right swimsuit for you. And it goes beyond size, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on too. But know your measurements. And so when you shop online, which I guess is my main point of reference, there are things called measurement charts, and they're there for a reason. They're guidelines, and they're a really good place to start. Don't ignore them. Don't assume that because you're a size 16 in a dress in a particular label, that you're going to be a size 16 in the togs that you try on or the togs that you're looking for. It doesn't work that way. You might find that generally you might get away with it every now and then, but if I was to have a bet on it, I'd bet that you would not be able to correlate it that way. So know your measurements and then find the measurement chart. Now on our website, every product has a link to a size and fit tab. You click on that and the measurement chart for that label is there. And if it's not, we haven't done our job and we need to boot up the backside. But that's a really good place to start. And I'm just going to refer to my notes because I have quite a few here. The simplest way to take your measurements is, because you're going to be in togs, there's no point bulking up, right, and wearing a thick jumper to take your measurements. Be as close as you're going to be to when you're wearing your togs. So maybe not wear a bra, but if you do wear a bra, wear something that is not too bulky, right? Right. You grab the tape and you put it on the fullest part. And the same goes for your waist and the same for your hips. Look for the fullest part. And then when you go to the measurements guide, it will say bust, waist, hips, and you look at your measurements and see where they fall in between the various sizes that are given. Now you might find that you're on the border. Well, if you're on the border, then you can do one of two things. You can get both sizes and see how they go and return what doesn't work. Or you can, just kind of go, well, I want to feel a bit firmer fit, so I'm going to go this way. It's a starting point. It's not gospel, but it's a really good starting point. And the other thing that knowing those measurements will do is it will allude and lead you to understand a bit more about your shape. Because, and here's where it gets a little bit tricky, every label will not only size differently, like they do with clothes, within that label, different cuts are going to fit differently. So for me, the most important thing is knowing your shape. And measurements will allude to shape. So when someone sends in their measurements to me and says, I need help, here are my measurements, I can get a visual straight away based on those measurements of what the shape might be. And I think when it comes to shape, there's something else that comes into the conversation too, beyond the numbers, and that is body parts. I alluded to it in the example conversation that I gave you 5-10 minutes ago. How long have I been talking? I must keep an eye on the time. 12:15 almost already. Yeah, so most women will say there's a body part that I don't like the look of, or I don't feel comfortable showing in my swimwear. Because let's face it, when you're in your togs, you are flapping it out there. You are feeling very vulnerable. It's the closest thing to being nude in front of total strangers. I get that. But so I'd say know your shape. So do you have a rounder tummy shape? And is that the area of your body that you feel less comfortable about? So think about that. Or it might be that you have a really full bust and it's important that you have really good support for your bust. Otherwise, you'll just be flicking and tucking and then you won't relax and you'll be conscious about that the whole time. So become a bit more familiar with your body, not only its measurements, but how you feel about it. And if there's areas that you think if I had swimsuit that could help me feel better about that area, then I think you'll be starting to narrow down what it is to look for. Don't get hung up on it. That's my beef with you if you do, because I live for the day where women go, you know what, I don't have a concern with any body part. But hey, this is life, this is reality, and I know that's how we roll. So there we go, we work with it. This then leads into tip number 3. I think that it's important that you understand how a swimsuit is constructed. Now, just like there's a measurement chart to guide you through the sizing for your measurements, there's online in particular, and if you go in store, the people who serve you should know this about what they sell. And I've heard that that's part of the problem, is that a lot of people aren't trained in that. But anyway, let's park that to the side. Is if you understand how they're constructed and the features of those togs, then that is also another piece in the puzzle where you can go, right, I need to look for that because I need this for my shape and my size. So I think it's really important that today I take you through, even though something might be the same size, it's going to fit differently and will suit your needs a little bit better depending on the cut. So let's go. Here in the stash, I've got some examples to show you. Oh, and that's what I meant to say earlier before I got off on another tangent. Just like we have the measurement guide for sizing, there's also comments. We take half an hour, seriously, to make sure that all the images are appropriate, that we've got images of girls, say from our Cosy Confidence crew, the girls there who are of different shapes and sizes, pictures of them, so that you can find yourself in those pictures a little bit easier. Make it a little bit more relevant and something that you can relate to a little bit more for you. There's also lots of words. Now, I know that attention spans are getting shorter and we like a quick fix, but really read the descriptions, because in the descriptions is a whole lot of goodness, a whole lot of rich information. Armed with that information, you will make the right decision. Hold on. So there are comments and information in the description and in the size and fit tab. Read them, get to know them, and get to know some of the terminology. Now that we're in lockdown, this is the time to learn about stuff, I think. It's a great opportunity so that when we're eventually let out of here, and you want to hit the beach, you've got all that knowledge and you're ready to roll and you're ready to hit it hard. So let's go. Here is an example. Right, so Tankinis, big sellers here at Sequins and Sand, because not everybody is the same size top and bottom, and you'll work that out when you take your measurements and get more familiar with your shape. You might be a 16 top and a 20 bottom. Well, you know what? A one piece is probably not going to cut it for you. I'm sorry. That's going to be really hard to accommodate a 4 size difference between top and bottom. So your best bet is to look for a 2-piece. Get a nice firm fit with a nice high-waisted pant if you're looking for some tummy support and some bum coverage, and then go for a top that's going to suit your bust and your belly. So these ones here are all size, let me check, 16 or 18. 18. Now, this is one particular tankini. See how it looks more like a top. It just simply falls from underneath the arms. It's got a V neckline and all these little tiny gathers, right, at the front. Now, the photos will show you this and the descriptions will tell you this. It's got wide straps and they're fully adjustable. Let's see what it's like underneath. This one has got what we call a shelf bra. So if you see that in the descriptions, girls, this is what a shelf bra looks like. See that? That is a really wide, it's that wide. It's about just under an inch, probably 1.5 centimeters of really, really firm elastic. And that sits under the bust, right? So that is the construction of a shelf bra. Now, the reason why they're used a lot in swimwear construction is because it gives us a bit of size latitude. So you might be, this one here is best for a cup size from a D to an F, right? And that might seem a lot, but this Tankini is able to take it because it has a shelf bra and it doesn't have a fixed wire. As soon as you have a fixed element like a wire, you have to be more precise with your fit. So this will do the job, and with the wide straps, beautiful. But do you see, it's a single layer of fabric and it just falls. Very different to this one here. Now this one has got gathered cups all the way along. It's got an empire line. We know how that works with clothing, girls. And it's got this ruching on the side, right? So this one here, again, slightly wider straps, not as wide as the last one, and fully adjustable. And then underneath, let's have a look at this. And this is what will be described for you online. But if you're shopping in a really truly store on the strip, have a look underneath. Take the cozy inside out and have a good look. You really need to know this stuff. So this has got an underwire. So remember I said with an underwire, a fixed element, it needs to fit a little bit more precisely. That's why this tankini comes in 2 different cup sizes, a DE and an FG. So those gathers means that a bust will simply fill it. So when you see extra fabric or see the word gathers or ruching, that means that there's extra fabric in there for you that's going to stretch. So again, this is going to fit very differently to that other one where it just fell. But because the other one had little gathers in the front, that gave that one a little bit more room to move. But this one here is going to have more room to move again. And because of the ruching, that gives a nice little coverage of the tummy. So you can see how that's a size 18 and this is a size 18, but they are completely 2 different cuts and will fit very differently. Then there's this one. This one's different again. This is the new snake print that we've got in, turquoise snake, but it's got 3 frills. So there's a lot going on in the front to conceal, but at the back, it just simply falls. And like the first one, it's got just 1 layer of fabric at the back, but in the front, it's got a shelf bra. So straight away, you know that there's going to be a little bit of latitude in the sizing with this one. Yeah, I've taught you that already. Shelf bra will give you that. And there's that one, same construction. Do you see that? And then it continues around at the back. So 3 of the same size, but 3 constructed very differently. And again, like I said, that will all be detailed out in the description. So if you were looking for something that you needed really good to fill for a fuller bust, then you'd probably start here with the gathered cup one. And that's where we would say on the website, okay, great for a super full bust. So the ruching there, the gathers there, means there's more fabric. So it will, give you more room to move. So that's just one example. The other thing is cup shape, right? So let's look at this one. Now this is a 1-piece example. See how that's shaped differently again? If you have a smaller bust size, bust cup, say a B, a C, this one will go further, but a triangle cup shape is what you need to look for. That is the most flattering for your bust shape, a smaller bust cup size. So this one has got the triangle cup. Ruching and details also helps as well, but that's a really good little trick. That's what I'd reach for first. And if you have a shape with your measurements that says you have you're smaller up top and you're wider and you're most concerned about your hips, then bring the attention up. And that's what this cozy does. It brings the attention up. Look for its details in the pictures and in the description. So it's got this ruching, this bands underneath, and a little bit of ruching in the tummy. So just like the Tankini gave extra room in the gathers there, ruching does the same thing for your body. So if you know that you find it hard to stand up in a swimsuit because you've got a longer torso, then look for cozies that have got extra fabric through the body. And ruching is a great way to get that extra length that you need, because there's extra fabric there for your body to stretch and move into. Also, girls with a fuller tummy love that as well, because the ruching helps to, disguise a few of the lumps and bumps. So that's another feature that comes into togs. There we go. That's a bit easier for you to see. Yeah, and the other benefit, now that we're talking one pieces over tankinis, in my opinion, a one piece is going to give you more support overall because virtually it's because of how it's made, right? It anchors between your legs, whereas a tankini is just left like a top to float about a little bit more. So because it's anchored, it's going to give you overall support. So if you want to feel more supported overall, then look for a one piece first. Now, in a lot of the one pieces we sell, there's this other wonderful feature. Most of them are double lined, which is great too. This one here, this is our bestseller for a fuller bust, this gathered, this ruched underwire. It's just blows it off the charts. But it's got layer at the back, so it's got 2 layers of fabric all the way around. And in the front, this layer, it's a bit harder for me to show you, but you probably can't see that. Oh, there we go. See that zigzaggy? That's because this is called power mesh. So look for that in the details as well in the description. Power mesh is firmer, and it's not a suck you in like a miracle suit kind of feature. It just gives you a little bit more support than regular swimsuit fabric with. So again, if that's an area that you think, oh, you know what, if I could support my tummy a bit more, then look for power mesh in the description and maybe look for the ruching as well. So that is, that's another little trick to look for in a one piece. Sorry, I just had to gather my thoughts again. I went off on another tangent in my brain. Now, I was saying how this was the #1 swimsuit, hands down, for a fuller bust. And another reason why it is because it's got a high back. Now, there's a great debate that goes on about whether to have underwire or not for support. I personally think a good shelf bra and a high back is what gives great support for a fuller bust shape. Because a high back means it comes in higher under the arms and it gives you side bust coverage. How many of you big bust girls are sick of, spilling out over the sides, or you're fiddling all the time to try and get your bits in on the side? It's really important to have that side bust coverage, and that comes best with a high back that brings it in higher under the arms. And then the fully adjustable wider straps means you can pull them down to get that firmer fit and lift the girls right up. Really important to do that, to feel good and to look good in your togs. So really adjust those straps in, girls. The other thing is sometimes, and many of our togs actually, have these hooks that means you can unhook them at the back. If you cross your togs over the straps at the back, that'll give you another half a size lift and support. So that's another top tip from me. So that's the underwire ruched one piece. If you get lost in all these descriptions, girls, I can answer them if you put the questions in the feed there, and I promise I'll get back to you because we are going pretty quickly through these features. I know it can be confusing. Now, here's another one. We had it in the tankini. Here it is in the one piece. This is the #1 bestseller for tummy, those who are tummy conscious, full of tummy shape, because these things do all the disguising, right? And at the back, it's nice and plain. However, no ruching in the torso. So if you need the extra length, you're going to have to go up a size for this, and adjust it in another way. So look at all the features. Look. Okay. This one I had to throw in. Now, all these togs are the same size, by the way. They are all 18s. That's the most common size I sell here. See these? This has got banding. Now, on the hanger, that looks a little bit, difficult to make out what it's going to do. But in the photos, you'll see what it does. And that's where the photos really come into their own and on different shapes. If you have an hourglass figure and you have a waist, this is the togs that you need. See all that going on there? That means all the features are down around the waist, and that's where the attention's going to be drawn, and that's where if you've got a waist, you're going to be showing it off because that's where it's designed to come in and highlight in that area. So as opposed to someone who doesn't want to show off their waist and who just wants it to, you know, just skim and not cling. Look at this. Look at the swim dresses. How different is this? Now, I know that's an extreme example, girls, but this swim dress is a 26 and this is a 26. But they are constructed very differently. And again, knowing the features and how they're cut is going to help you understand the fit a bit more. So this one has an underwire and it's got the empire cut where it comes in under the bust with an underwire. And see how it's got that panel of colour across the top? That's where all the attention is going to be drawn, to that colour, and the black base is going to be left relatively insignificantly. And a swim dress has got a one piece underneath every time. So you get that tummy support underneath, and then the dress bit falls from under the bust in this case and under the bust in this case. So answer me this. What shape or cup size would be best in a triangle cup like this? Now, our Maria from the Cosy Confidence crew rocks this. She is our hippie chick. She has the classic pear shape. She's about a 14-16 top and an 18-20 bottom. And in this swim dress, she manages to get into this one and looks awesome. But she's a classic shape for that. And then this one is for those girls who are maybe full all over and just want to feel comfortable and don't want to create that extra shape, right? So this one, the skirt falls from the neckline down and has the paneling. Again, it's got the one piece under. But you can see by looking at the photos and the features that this is going to fall and fit very differently to this one that's got more of an empire line. So that's going to give a little bit more definition to the shape. So I hope all of that kind of helps you to understand how the features of a swimsuit and its cut will work with what you're looking for to suit your shape and needs. We are starting to run out of time. It's already 12:30. But I just wanted to leave you with another thought around getting the right swimsuit fit. We've talked about having an open mind as tip number 1. Tip number 2, know your measurements and study those with the measurement chart on every product in store that's online. So find where your size fits on the measurement chart and then be comfortable with your shape and understand your cup size in particular, which is a really important one for the bust fit. Look for tip number 3 was understand the features of how a swimsuit is made and see if that's going to help what you're looking for in your togs to help with your shape and if you have a particular body part concern. Another thing is purpose. So think about what you want your togs to do, what you're going to be doing in your togs. If you're going to be lazing about the pool and having a relaxing time, then you can go for swimsuits that are going to be perhaps a little bit more revealing or a little bit more strappy and not so structured. But if you want something that for hydrotherapy, for example, then you're going to need togs that really give you that extra support so that it can stop all the jiggly bits from jiggling so much. So that's important too to consider. What do I want my togs, what do I want to be able to do in my togs? So we sell bucket loads of these. These are the zip ups, and I just had to show you that because girls are after more sun coverage and they're going to be spending time playing in the sun, either in the pool or in the beach. And to them, the number one thing, because of the purpose, what they see themselves doing in their togs, they want that sun protection. So that gives more cover up with a high back and a zip up front. Again, it's got a shelf bra inside, so you do get some support. So think about the purpose too, girls. So top tip number 1, open mind. Tip number 2, know your measurements. Look against the size chart to figure out where they come in and get familiar with your shape. And then understand and really read the description to know the features of togs and how those features are going to give you what you need to work in best with your shape. I hope that's given you some insights. We are here to help. It's my passion to have you feeling wonderful in your togs. If you're not sure, then I invite you to go to the website and find this button at the top. I'm going to show you on my phone because I didn't figure out how to share my screen. I should have. But do you see there is a button, a yellow button that says Get Swimsuit Help. And if you click that, you're taken to a fitting page, and it's called our Find Your Fit service. And there's two ways we can help you. There's a Find Your Fit survey, online survey, where you answer some questions, including giving us your measurements. And then we come back to you with an email that says, we think these are the best togs for you. Then, next level, and now that we are becoming more Zoomified and familiar with Zoom and video online, I've been waiting for this day, girls, because we've had that feature available for about 18 months now since we shut the studio down the road here in Brisbane. We will do virtual Zoom fittings with you. So we can have a chat like this. I'll have Cozzy set up and we can go through what the best options are for you, and I can take you through the features and the prints and the colours and really show you one-on-one what's going to work for you. Now, there's a fee for that because there's a lot of work involved with that, but there's also a deduction if you buy anything off the price that we use as a credit because you've paid for the fitting. So have a look there. I try really hard to give you fit solutions. We are all about the fit here. That's our reason for being. So there's different ways, different levels of help for depending on how much help you need. So please have a look around, get Swimsuit Help, click on that button on your phone, on the website, and learn about ways, if you need a bit of extra help to find the perfect fitting Cozzy for you, that you think I and the girls can help you with. We would love to. Have a great day, girls. Enjoy the rest of your day. And tomorrow at 12 o'clock, we have the lovely Linda. Oh, you know, you meet some people and you just think, oh, she's such a soothing, gentle soul. That is Linda. As soon as Linda speaks to you, you will relax. She's such a lovely lady. She's based up in Darwin. She's going to tune in and talk about motivation and mindset, and in particular, how to feel more controlled in this unsettling time. 12 o'clock tomorrow, right here on the Sequins and Sand Facebook page. Thanks, girls. I haven't had a chance to read all your comments. I do appreciate your love and support, and I'll get cracking now and respond. Thanks very much. Have a great day. Love you all. Bye.